Thank you for being with us on the Feast of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. Our top story tonight, President Joe Biden meets with Mexico's president to discuss critical issues plaguing both countries. The two leaders spoke at the APEC summit in San Francisco about migration and drug trafficking. The powerful opioid fentanyl has become the deadliest drug in the U.S. today, killing thousands of Americans every year. White House Correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen?
Tracy, good evening to you. Tonight, President Joe Biden wants Mexico to block fentanyl. It's blamed for 2/3 of the drug overdose deaths here in the United States. Of course, whether their talks help at all remains to be seen. President Joe Biden and Mexican President Manuel Lopez Obrador, who have not had the friendliest of relationships, sitting down in San Francisco to talk about their country's challenges.
We're working side by side to combat arms trafficking, to tackle organized crime, and to address the opioid epidemic, and including fentanyl.
We are sincerely committed to continue to assist at our fullest capacity to prevent drug trafficking.
On the table, deadly fentanyl trafficking. Mexico and China, the primary sources for the synthetic drug trafficked into the U.S. Earlier this week, President Biden secured an agreement with China's President Xi to curb the illicit opioid. The goal, fewer deaths.
With this new understanding, we're taking action to significantly reduce the flow of precursor chemicals and pill presses from China to the Western Hemisphere. It's going to save lives, and I appreciate President Xi's commitment on this issue.
Also on today's agenda with Mexico, the challenge of migration, specifically the southern border. President Biden's poll numbers have dropped. Reuters says Americans' concerns over immigration are at their highest level in 4 years.
And we see in our cooperation to address historic levels of migration. And I want to thank you, Mr. President, and your team, I really mean it, for the cooperation and your leadership in taking on this challenge. I know it's not easy.
Democrats begging for federal assistance to help care for migrant families living in squalid shelters and sleeping in police stations, while Republicans call President Biden's border policies too lax. Congress has not passed an immigration overhaul in decades. Now, for its part, Mexico wants the U.S. to resume talks with Cuba and end U.S. sanctions. Meantime, President Biden heads back to Delaware tonight. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.